This is episode 2 of the Red Leaf Retrocast Anime Edition. And we have an amazing cast of peoples all around the world as usual. We got all 4 of us back for the second episode. This one we're talking about, well, pirating basically. And following up with our main topic of the day, which is the spitball of the 1988 OVA anime, Gunbuster.
Gunbuster!
And we all watched it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. 5 years ago or whatever, but yeah.
I watched it a bit more recently, but yeah.
I watched it like 2 days ago. Yeah, it'll be fine.
I actually rewatched it yesterday myself.
It's almost
Good
like
for
we
you.
actually did research or something.
Some of us.
God forbid I actually do any research on anything.
Yeah.
Well, we actually have a very good segues and whatnot. I actually made an agenda for it, and we have announcements, we have shout-outs, a little bit of everything going. But let's begin with, instead of a little introduction of who we are again, what's everyone watching right now? Like a top 3, whether it's seasonal, preferably not seasonal. Joe?
Oh, man. I barely watch anything seasonal anyway. Still enjoying Love Tyrant, and I just kind of catch shit on the random. I rewatched Fooly Cooly the other day. That's about it. I'm terrified for what that second season is going to bring because it's just IG without that little Gynex flair on it. But what are you going to do? Worst case scenario, it's bad, and I just have to pretend it doesn't exist. Best case, it's good, and I can love it.
I'm a little worried about the length of the show myself, since the original was, 4-episode OVA or something?
Oh,
It wasn't
yeah.
very long.
It was a 6, all fit on one disc. But they brought the pillows back, so there's not much I can complain about until I see it.
Alrighty. Hickey, what you got? I will call you
Well-
Hickey. I won't split between any of the names anymore.
Thank you.
I already
well,
messed up
I'm-
one South American in my baseball game last night. I don't need to start calling someone else by names. They don't understand.
Oh shit. Well, like I'm watching 28 shows this season, so it's kind of difficult to choose 3 and run with it. I would say I'm enjoying Love Tyrant as well. I think it's a really funny show, although it doesn't have a lot of.
Weebs.
Fuck you, Tori.
Sorry.
I'm talking. It's so difficult for me to talk, and you interrupt me. Now my English is all fucked up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm also enjoying a show called Twin Angel Break, which should be for kids, I think, but sometimes they do very serious stuff like kids dying and stuff like that. So it's a happy surprise. It wasn't on my list. It was a late pick, and I'm glad I get to enjoy that. This
So it's
season
a
is
kid
kind
show
of
from
weird.
the 80s.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of old stuff. I'm watching right now, but that's because I need to come here and talk to you guys about the old stuff.
What do you mean need? You want to be here.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
definitely not being
Yeah.
forced.
No, of course not. It's not like they're paying
Yeah.
me to do that. Wait. You're not paying me to do that. Fuck you.
I want
But,
one American, I'm
this
pretty sure it's
season-
pretty high.
This season is kind of weak, so I guess those are the only 2 shows. I'm excited to watch every week. Well, there's Boku no Hero Academia, but
You dropped that.
I didn't drop it.
You said you
got
dropped
better.
it.
I didn't say I dropped it. I said I might drop it.
Well, you
it,
said you
it
dropped
got
it.
good.
You lied to
It got-
me.
It got good.
I actually just watched I actually watched the most recent episode today before recording, and they always try something so emotionally, like with the high inner monologue. It's very emotional. It's very sad, and then the ending upbeat music always gets me. It's really funny because it doesn't fit the mood that we had just experienced 2 seconds ago.
Yeah,
But JD, it's a fucking tournament arc.
it is a tournament arc.
Holy
actually-
shit, a motherfucking tournament arc!
I guess that's
Well, upon
it.
recording this, the spring season essentially is at its last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Can't wait
yeah,
for
Tori,
shitty
what do
summer.
you got?
Well, For me, I'm not really excited for anything. It's mostly sequels, so stuff that's been mentioned. My Hero Academia. I do still like Attack on Titan, and my other favorite from this season is The Eccentric Family. If I were to pick something that wasn't seasonal, it would probably be like a short that I watched yesterday, like Furico, for example. That was really good. 4 minutes, a really good 4 minutes.
Yeah, you were watching a lot of shorts the other day.
Yeah.
A lot of old shorts too.
2 old shorts from around the 80s. Neo Tokyo was one of them, which is by the director of Akira, who made like a little 3-episode shorts. Pretty interesting.
It's not a really important series.
And the
Akira.
other one, and the other one was called Jumping, which is by Osamu Tezuka, who basically just shows somebody, maybe, you know what I mean, yeah? Who basically showcases, it showcases a first-person perspective of somebody basically just jumping through the city they live in and to other countries and eventually into the ocean and whatnot, and just you essentially just get like a snippet, like a couple of seconds of interest of seeing somebody else's life and what they go through. Like you literally just land in front of somebody and then jump over to the next one. Kind of interesting.
Well then.
Yeah.
So how are you doing,
I'm definitely
JD?
I'm definitely interested in Neo Tokyo after you kept talking about it.
The second one was definitely my favorite out of those 3. That death race.
You have my attention. I've been finishing up season 2 of Kuroko no Basket.
Finally.
Nice basketball anime. Part
God.
of a certain community watch, and now we're on the next one, which is Kimi no Todoke, which I'm calling No Toad. And Tori's watching that as well.
Yeah.
From my X to your Y.
Yeah, the art style's a little bit weird, but I think that's okay since it's comedy. Not against it at all. It's just a little bit jarring at first.
It's much better than the other choices.
Good.
Yeah, I can't watch this show. I tried like 2 times already, and I just can't. I can't sit and watch it.
I believe that's what happens when you're bored.
It's not only bored. It's my stomach doesn't feel happy. It actually makes me want to puke or something. It's probably
Nice.
because of the colors and stuff. It's not doing well for my health.
In case you guys didn't know,
guys.
Brazil's still in black and white, so he doesn't really know how to use colors.
Yeah, I can do it with colors.
But here you have it, guys. Anime is dangerous for your health. Stay away.
Look, we literally call this guy Hickey. I mean, yeah, kinda.
Kinda.
I'm healthy
True.
most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah. Sure.
And the other one I'm watching right now is Prince of Tennis, just in my free time again. I had never seen the series in English or in even subtitled. I've only seen it in German, and the English dub was atrocious, so I had to stop and went back to German. So I like it. I like Prince of Tennis. It's nothing too special, but it's definitely entertaining for a sports anime.
I'd love to
For
watch
a
an
sports
anime
anime.
dubbed in German. I think it'll be fun.
Well, there's so much German around you in Brazil. I mean, you might,
Yeah, I know.
you might pick some stuff up.
But I should.
Well, I
learn
mean, that's
German.
what happens when the whole country just obliterates another country in a World Cup.
Well,
They decide it's time to
that's
go.
what happens when your my country is full of Germans, but that's what's happened when you fuck up so bad in a world war that you can win, and then your own people need to, find a better place to live. You shit.
I believe they just needed to hightail it out of there.
Yeah, they also need to hide. Yes, most of them.
It was all part of the long game to beat Brazil at home in the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's a long game. That's a long,
It's a long
shitty game to play.
Next up is Argentina.
Can we start talking about teams that are a threat, though, instead?
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
See you in
America.
Russia, then.
Well, you know what? It's funny you bring up Russia. We actually got a comment on YouTube where the episode's posted over episode 1, and Joe here
Hi.
made
I ate a bag of
blunder.
dicks.
That he said the mangaka of Silent Voice was the same as Welcome to the Ballroom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just like the mangaka for Silent Voice is the same as the one who makes One Piece, you know?
And Evangelion. No, I'll eat a bag of dicks on it. Doesn't matter.
The
Mistakes
American
do happen.
got caught by the Russian.
But yeah, no, mistakes do happen. There are times where you're probably going to mess up on something.
Oh no, I'm certain I'm gonna fuck up again. Don't you worry. I'll eat another bag of dicks in due time.
Yeah, sure. So if you do catch us on saying something wrong, sure, point it out. That's fine.
Point it out, because then it gives us free reign to make fun of our own hosts.
Yeah. That's kind of what we do, anyways.
Well, I mean, we didn't need more artillery for it, but you know.
Well, we'll definitely come back to the YouTube page in a second here. I did want to have a couple shout-outs to a couple other podcasts that are pretty recently started as well. One is, we know personally from a Discord channel, Meowth900 has her own podcast now called Something Something Podcast. You can find it on iTunes, and I believe it's also on Google Play. It's kind of this water cooler type talk of what they watch and read on a weekly basis, and they just go through and what they like. It's relaxing, to say the least. I quite enjoy it, especially for a car ride. That's my recommendation to it. And then my other one is actually a kind of a mixture of a video game movie podcast from one of my Australian friends. He does what's called the Ultimate Awesomeness podcast, and you can find that on his YouTube page at Benji James. So he plans on editing it. He does post on his Facebook page of the same name, and then it'll be up on YouTube at a later date after he goes through and edits a lot of the things out. You know, make it sound more professional in that. He's a longtime YouTuber, good guy. It's also really funny, and he's very vocal. So, Joe, it's probably something you'd be interested in, and I know a couple other people that we're in contact with might be interested in him as well.
You want to throw the links in the description?
I will for sure throw them in there on where you can find our podcast. I will definitely throw it in the description for the episodes. So,
all right.
You can find us, this amazing Red Leaf Retrocast Anime Edition podcast, at iTunes, Google
in every
Play,
country besides
VidMe, and YouTube. However, there's a catch to YouTube. We were blocked in 5 countries: the United States, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea. I had to go in and edit just weird stuff out. There was, the intro sequence. We like having whatever anime we're gonna spitball / review / talk about as the intro music, and YouTube doesn't like that. So for some reason it was blocked in those specific 5 countries, even though the music's public domain.
From now on, let's just make everything Eurobeat.
Yeah.
So for all sake and purposes, the YouTube edition of the podcast won't have intro music or outro, most likely. That's okay. If you want to have that extra little bit, there's 4 other places to find the podcast. Now then, couple great announcements that I think we all are happy about. Attack on Titan got a Season 3 announcement for next year in 2018.
Yeah.
Whether or not it happens.
Doesn't care.
Yay. Nah, I'm happy for it. I am.
I'm personally a fan of the show, so any announcement is better than no announcement.
True.
Yeah, well, I'm happy for the fans of the show, but I'm not watching Season 2, and I won't be watching Season 3, because I'm kind of lost the hype. I don't know, I just don't feel like watching anymore.
I'm a manga reader for Attack on Titan, so I usually catch it when the series is done and I watch the whole thing in a sitting.
So you're more of the binge watching type.
Yeah, it's like I got started in the 90s or something. One VHS at a time.
Never.
Oh god,
Whether it was Library or Blockbuster, let's go.
The hell's a Blockbuster? I was born in 93, man, come on.
Blockbusters did exist.
Shut up. I'm not that
Along with
old.
Hollywood Videos and Family Videos.
Hollywood Videos where it's at.
Well, it's funny. Okay, so that's a great place to segue into our our topic that we wanted to kind of bitch about, and that's the availability in other countries and how we can gain access to anime. And it's become it's become an issue throughout the world. People are upset that pirating is hurting anime, but when it comes down to it, is do we even have access to it in the first place?
Are you even part of the original market? Could you even get it if you tried?
Right. And being that 3 out of 4 of us don't live in the United States, and Joe, even though you live in the United States, there's... yeah, true fact, right? We all have our different obstacles we have to take in order to find this entertainment medium, if that's okay if I say it like that. Just how do we gain access? And I'd like to first start off with TV channels, because there is TV. Like in America, it was Toonami. It came back, and that's really I know there's an Anime Network channel, but you have to have crazy satellite TV to get that.
A few years back, we used to have the Funimation channel. I'm pretty sure that went away. I personally don't have cable. I do everything through Hulu, Netflix, Crunchyroll, well, VRV or whatever, because I can just get Funimation and Crunchyroll through one service. And then anything I can't find there, basically I pirate. I mean, if I can't find it, I don't have access to it. It's not like I'm not going to watch it. And if I like it, chances are I'll buy it. Or I'll buy something from it.
Yeah.
But being American, I have the most access out of everyone here, I assume.
Yeah.
Yes.
Outside of,
easily,
living in
the best
Japan.
access.
It's
Well,
true.
yeah, outside of Japan, right.
But I mean, when you look at talking about TV channels, right? That's kind of why you guys do have stuff, like for example, like you said, Toonami, where you can watch stuff on. For us, it's like we don't have anything. The only exception to that is, of course, I can go to Cartoon Network and I can catch the occasional episode of Yokai Watch. But that's about it. And no, I do not watch Yokai Watch.
That's the same problem I have. We used to have Toonami as well, but it got cancelled and never came back.
Not even the new one?
Not even the new one. In the year 2004, there was a channel called Animax, which would show anime, like basically 24/7. Guess what happened to it? It got like cancelled as well. So nowadays we don't have anything. I think only 4 anime that are on TV. 2 in Cartoon Network, and the other 2 I don't know where they are. Which is basically Dragon Ball, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Beyblade, I guess. Or something.
You guys
along
don't
those
still have
lines.
Saint Seiya?
Saint Seiya was really like famous around the 2000s. I remember watching it on like 3 channels on TV. Doesn't need to have cable to have access to that. But I guess if you want me to go into history of the anime industry in Brazil, some bad stuff happened and they just stopped showing anime on TV. And people lost interest in, never came back, although we have a market to that.
You know, it's funny you actually bring up Animax, because when I lived in Germany, that was actually... Animax had a block on a couple different TV channels, and it would always be in kind of a rotation. And the shows that were on Animax were exactly what you mentioned. It was more towards the lower aged kids. You know, the Beyblades, the Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. And I was there in 2005.
Yeah, but our Animax had some kind of good anime, like good dubs. We had Death Note, the original Fullmetal Alchemist, Bleach, Naruto, those kind of shows. And today we have another channel on cable that kind of bought those animes, and they keep going. Like it's called, I think, Play TV or something like that. I can go on this channel and watch the original dub for Death Note if I want to, but the quality is so bad. It's so bad. So yeah, it doesn't look good. Looks like.
Well, when I was there was one other channel I wanted to bring up in Germany. It was called RTL Spy. I had to look this up to try to remember what it was I was watching again. And go, okay, 2005 Anime Channel Deutschland. But it was RTL2, RTL Spy, and that channel alone helped me actually learn German, but the only shows that were generally on there were Prince of Tennis, a soccer one that I can't remember, One
Captain
Piece.
Tsubasa?
Probably Tsubasa.
It was probably Tsubasa, but I wasn't able. I think that was before I came home from school, but it was definitely on. I would always catch like the end of the episode, and then Prince of Tennis would come on, and then followed by One Piece and Inuyasha, and then Detective Conan was also on there as well. So that's kind of where I got started in watching a lot of those shows. Was it helped me learn German, and it was very good. Now, after a while, you get kind of tired watching the same 3-4 shows, and that's where TV is limited, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because after how long do you then get tired of watching that stuff? And then you want to expand the genre. It's like you don't want to watch the same 4 movies or TV shows over and over again. So what do? You go to a Blockbuster, or at the time it was Blockbuster, or you go to a store that sells DVDs, and now Blu-rays are the big thing. That's the new disc medium. Last 10 years I would say now.
The new hotness, at least.
Where you live,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, not here.
Yeah, well. So, where are there any stores where you guys live where you'd have access to buying anime?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, I can. What I can do, I have a couple options. One, I can go to my local manga store, they also stock a couple anime, Blu-rays and DVDs, but they're usually the big shonens. Otherwise, it's stuff like stuff by big name directors such as Paprika by Satoshi Kon and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They have a couple and stuff like that. And what's really nice there is I have my manga card, which basically, if I buy 8 manga, I get the 8th free. And I realized
really cool.
one time I went there, that also applies to anime. So if I buy 7 manga and 1 anime, I get the anime for free. That's kind of nice.
That's nice.
That is.
No.
Other than that, I can go to at least a couple, Play.com, for example, which is a local music and video store and game store, just kind of everything. They have an anime shelf. They have a couple of anime, usually DVDs, very rarely any Blu-rays, but like 3 or so in store, and they have a couple on their website as well, which you basically can go and pre-order from them, and then they'll tell you whenever they arrive, which might be never.
Okay, so more or less a one of those just random manga anime stores that open up.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I got the same thing here in Toronto. It's called Harry Tarantula, or I go to Chinatown, and there's a store there called Anime Extreme. But the manga's fine, but they charge basically US dollar prices, so I'm paying like an extra $2-3 more than if it was just straight Canadian. So I have to deal with this weird exchange rate thing, and then the anime DVDs are actually quite expensive.
Yeah.
So what about you, Hickey and Joe? What do you guys got?
I don't live in a big city. It's like a medium city, so I don't know if other places they have anime stores. But I don't have one. I never saw a anime Blu-ray where I live. Well, I say once. I think I saw Sensei Soul of Gold selling on the bookstore, but that was it. Blu-rays and DVDs, they are expensive in my country. The technology is expensive in my country. In
Oh
general.
yeah, I mean, what is it, like $1,000 for a PS4 or something?
It's 1,000. I think one terabyte of memory is $1,500. It's the one I'll be buying soon.
Yeah, there's a lot of Brazilians here in Toronto that come up, and they also do it in the U.S. where they'll just buy a ton of iPads and PlayStations and Xboxes, and then bring them back and sell them
family,
for half the price.
Yeah, and they still have a lot of money. They win a lot of money doing that. And but it's something that I discovered recently, which I kind of reminded it, was when I went to cons like 4 years ago. It's been a while since I went to a convention. They usually had a bunch of anime DVDs, and the quality was really good. They were bootlegs. I remember looking to 100, 1,000 of those DVDs. My friend even bought, at the time, he bought High School of the Dead DVD, and we watched it together. It was pretty cool. The DVD, the quality was actually pretty decent. And I was
So
talking
you were just happy to get anything.
I was talking with Joe, I think. We were in voice chat. and are
Yep,
looking
that was
at I was looking at this huge bootleg site that was selling even Blu-rays, and they were selling for like $15, where a Blu-ray disc is around $100. So we have a big parallel marketing for anime. So I don't think I will ever see any anime. I won't be buying bootlegs, but it's kind of sad to have this huge market and only having bootlegs being sold.
You have this giant
Yeah.
market and it's just totally ignored.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
think
people
even,
say Brazilians don't like anime, so we don't need to sell it for them.
I think even Nintendo doesn't even sell in South America anymore.
No, they had a factory on Manaus, which is in the north, but they said we are not having any profit here, so let's close it. Everything is important.
Yeah.
Now they want to come back. I remember looking at news, and I think they will reopen the factory, which is kind of good, but not so much because it's gonna be expensive, and I don't think I will know. I know a lot of people that will buy Nintendo stuff, but that's
Ah,
games.
If
Okay,
it's there,
let's
they'll
go back
come.
to
But
anime.
anyways. No, I mean it just speaks to the market in Brazil on just how everything's sold there, and if you don't have access to it, and like you said, when bootlegs are the only option, when is it finally time to cave? You know, if it's there, why wouldn't I just get it, as opposed to not ever being there?
Yeah, and that's a problem
Exactly.
as well, because I know the quality it has, and I kind of know these people. Those people are making those bootlegs for 20 years now. They started on VHS, went for DVDs, and now are on Blu-rays. You know, they know what they are doing. The quality is actually pretty good, and
I do
it's
know
kind
the
of
feeling
sad to
in-
see
in-
that.
Yeah, I do know the feeling in buying bootlegs when there's no market there, because I grew up in the South, in Texas, and even lived in Louisiana for a time, and there's just nothing there. So, I mean, sure, Funimation is in Dallas, Texas, but Houston's 4.5 hours away by car. Is that really feasible to go and buy a DVD or two? No.
Of course it is. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
man. You need to try to get these legally. But yeah.
Us Americans, we really love driving.
Yeah, I mean, not so much. So Joe, you arguably have the best access to whether it's manga and anime. What do you for DVD and Blu-ray access? What kind of stores?
Yeah, after hearing everyone's stories, it's time for me to complain. So,
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
no, being an American, I have a lot of really nice things because I'm in the same region code for Blu-rays as Japan. I'm in the same DVD region as Japan, and we get every manga that releases anything that's even remotely popular is probably going to get released in America. I mean, we have Viz Media, we have Funimation gets a hold of everything. Seven Seas just got a Go Nagai manga. I can't believe it. And that was a Devilman. Everything basically that I would want is either going to be released or has been released. I go to Best Buy. I have a local store called Newberry Comics, which is more of a regional store than kind of like a small mom and pop. I have I go on Right Stuff, which is the online service. They ship everywhere, but their shipping is crazy outside of the U.S. to say the least. Like JD, I think for you have to spend what, $260 to even get free shipping.
I have to spend $250 USD.
Oh, so it's
Which
like three change. Canadian.
Yeah, so it's
250?
300 plus when it's all said and done.
That's almost $1,000. Well, 1,000 reais. Holy fuck! I'm not spending that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's just for Right Stuff. Funimation, Sentai, everyone else doesn't ship to Canada.
I
They
know the
just don't
pain.
ship.
I know the pain.
I mean, for me, I can go buy manga at Barnes and Noble, Books A Million. I can go to my music store has manga. I can get a
You're
hold of
lucky.
it anywhere I go. So really, when it comes to access, it's not so much of a complaint. My main complaints come from me liking older shows for the most part, and them being unlicensed or have been out of print for the better part of a decade, 15 years, and there's no plan to
we're
remake
all
them.
in that same boot as well. Yeah, anything older than 10 years old, it's tough to even find it legally anymore.
Yeah.
There's no other way to actually see it. So now that leads into streaming. And the top 3 I've listed here are Netflix, Crunchyroll, and Funimation. It used to be Hulu for the States, but they've recently pulled a lot of their catalog.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're getting a lot of that catalog back. I mean, it's not going to be the same.
If they do, great. It's not going to be the same. It's going to be missing. It's not going to be near as much as it used to be. But besides the point, you can only get Hulu in the U.S.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So who here has Crunchyroll, Funimation, and Netflix?
I have
What's
Crunchyroll.
good?
I have
got 'em all.
Crunchyroll. I use my friend's account for Netflix. I used to have a Funimation account. When Crunchyroll started in Brazil, it was really bad. There was a rumor going on that they would contract fan subbers to do the job, and the quality was just bad. Really, really, really bad. I remember people complaining about the subs. So what I did, I got like 2-3 friends, and we would buy a American Crunchyroll account and a Funimation account, and we would share it. After a while, it started to become very expensive because the dollar become more expensive to buy, and we would have to go buy the dollars, put on a specific account, and with that account we had to renew the subscription. It was getting really, really expensive, so we kind of dropped Funimation and just keep up with Crunchyroll. Then Crunchyroll in Brazil became better and better, so we decided to change to Brazilian Crunchyroll.
So is the catalog then the same as the U.S.?
Of course not.
Or is it because
Of
Tori's
course not.
mentioned that
I have blocked
there's
stuff,
quite
yes.
a few shows that are just missing.
Yeah.
No.
Especially now with like everything that Funimation is, or like Crunchyroll's getting from Funimation, where there's a lot of new shows coming up, but they're all only available in North America and Canada, or every once in a while they're available other places such as the UK and Ireland. But no, granted, I don't blame Crunchyroll for that because again they're getting Funimation licenses, so of course they're only going to be North America. But again, it's a bit annoying, especially when you're paying the same as everybody else, and I see, they're getting all these new titles that I'm not getting because I don't live in the US.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
you're paying the same fee for a lesser service.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Like sometimes you go at the catalog and you see one show you wanted to rewatch or kind of wanted to watch for a couple of time now. You clicking on it like very happy because you can finally watch it. You found it, and it just gives that message blocked to your region, and that's it.
Yeah.
You just can't watch it. It's there in front of you, but you can't watch it because it's blocked. That's one of the reasons why I had a American account to watch shows that were blocked in my region.
I recently found out, and this is really weird, that Canadian Crunchyroll has some shows you can only access on your PC, which I find extremely strange. I'm not sure if it's in the States as well, but something like Owari Monogatari, I can't get on, say, Crunchyroll from my PS4 or any other device. It has to be through the PC, specifically.
That's super weird.
Yeah.
It's
I've never heard of that.
really odd.
Yeah, I never tried.
And then there's just shows missing. I believe all of the ones that were added because I guess Joe here got in touch with Crunchyroll.
Oh yeah, apparently.
He's like, I am a hipster elitist. I want these shows on Crunchyroll.
I
They're all
demand
my
my favorite shows be on Crunchyroll. Damn it,
For
Miles,
North
make it
America
happen.
only.
And it's almost like they met you halfway. Okay, we can get Lane, Ergo Proxy, put Evangelion. You're gonna have to wait on that one.
I already own that DVD. I don't give a shit if they put it on or not.
Man, I don't know if.
But I mean,
none of those have showed up for me yet.
But I mean, if you want to send me that really nice Japanese Blu-ray, I'm not gonna say no.
I need to
I
see.
don't
If,
have $300 lying around, but give it to me though.
I need to go and look up if the Ergo Proxy is available for me. I don't think it is, but I hope it is because I really love that series. I really want to rewatch.
As far as I remember, it's North America only. So.
Oh,
from
God,
Funimation.
fucking damn it! Anyway, one thing.
It's a Funimation show, so I doubt it.
Yeah, one thing.
And that has a lot to do with licensing in countries. And I want to take the time then to segue into limited streaming. Now, does anybody else live in a country where your internet provider you don't have the option of unlimited downloading or streaming?
Nope.
No, they want you to do it here, but the Supreme Court said it's illegal. So yay for me.
Yeah, we don't have those issues.
For limited access and a limited number.
Yeah, no, like we have unlimited. We don't get problems. Like we don't get cut off if we use the internet too much. I've never experienced getting cut off from anything. I have had internet issues, of course, but I've had the same I've had usually it's at the same service all the time. Like I don't have problems. I don't get cut off. I don't just all of a sudden go like, oh no, sorry, you can't watch here anymore. You've used too much internet. I was like, that doesn't happen here.
So in Germany and Canada, two countries, one I'm living in, used to live in, the way the internet works here is you can get unlimited access. You can have that, but it costs a lot more. In Germany, it was when I was in a Wohnheim, which is like a student dorm in college. They gave us only 2 gigs of download a month.
Wow.
And if you wanted any more than that, it was outrageous pricing. So you were actually better off getting a phone plan, and you could download more that way, and for a cheaper price.
That's incredible.
So that's what I had to do when I was there, and basically I would just spend days at cafes, just off Wi-Fi, and just hang out there. But when I got home, there's no download. And then when I come to Canada, I found out that unless I want to pay a lot more, I have a limited amount of downloading that I can do, and I stream constantly, so that was immediately a problem. Since I don't watch a lot of TV or cable.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I recently upgraded my internet because we had troubles. Our main system was old, so we did not get the internet we were paying for. So after calling in like 3 times, because we tried checking other places, but nobody provides anywhere near as good internet as the ones we have to the same price. Mm-hmm. So we just kept calling and complaining about this isn't working, until eventually they were like, you know what, fine. We're gonna double your internet. Basically, they were gonna reinstall like our new, they were gonna take away the old system, and they were gonna replace it with a new one, and then they were gonna like double our internet, all for the price of basically $2 more, no cap. So that was nice.
You got it.
Yeah.
So, what is everyone's take then on using pirate sites? Because Joe mentioned it earlier how, and I'm in the same boat as him. I watch a lot of older shows, and you just can't get them legally. And the only way to do it is either download it from a site, download the torrent, or you just go to a site that has it in their database, and you just watch it online.
I'm personally more in the wheelhouse that I would rather people torrent if it's not available legally to them. That way there's no money switching hands for advertisers to, an illegal streaming site. But really, obviously, in a perfect world, everyone would have access to everything. And that's just not the case. It's just not. It's a fact of life. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I see it as ignorant to think otherwise. It's like, you shouldn't, if it's not available, don't watch it. Well, no.
Well,
because that's how things get lost. Why would if I can't, let's say all of a sudden The Godfather, you can't find that in stores anymore, it's out of print, it won't be shown on TV anymore, should we just not then watch The Godfather anymore? I would say no.
Only people who own it, yeah.
I would say, no, get access to that movie immediately. I don't care how other make companies and others realize that it's still popular.
Yeah. The way I view streaming, though, like illegal streaming, is or torrenting for that matter, is kind of. I know some people are going to take issues with it, but except for the fact, of course, if I can't get it anyway, I'm not against pirating it, because again, you don't want my money. You're not losing any money. You don't want my money. So there's really no trade-off. Yes, I'm not entitled to it, but again, like you said, people are not going to watch just because of that. And the other thing that I know some people are probably not that happy to hear, and that is, if you are somebody like, let's say, Daisuke or Viewster, which are two other streaming services that I can use. However, I have tried them, and they're incredibly poor. Granted, they're both free, I don't have to pay, but even still, they're incredibly poor. I'm not going to use those sites for that exact reason. I'm not going to use a site where I'm going to get a poor product. Yes, sure, they're free. That's good. But I'm getting, like in terms of Daisuke, which I've tried the most, I get incredibly poor streaming. I can, like, 1080p or 720p, even HD basically, is absolutely not HD. It's it's still standard definition, it's just been upscaled a little bit. And not only that...
480 plus.
Yeah, and not only that, I cannot for most of the time even play it off in 720p, because, it's a Japanese service. And they're like, no, sorry, you're having issues with your internet. I check my internet. No, I'm not having issues with my internet. That's not the problem. It's your goddamn servers.
Yeah. As I mentioned before, there was a time in my life that I really, really tried to go full legal. And by that, getting Crunchyroll and Funimation, which were the two main sites. The problem is, I just can't. It's too much to bear. Going out of my way to get those things legal. Don't get me wrong. I think you should get the legal stuff, especially because I'm a law student. It would be bad. It would be bad for me if I just get it here and said, yeah, go pirate everything. No, the problem is, I think those kind of stuff are a two-sided relationship. I'm here. I'm offering my money and I'm offering my time to watch those kind of stuff, but the counterpart doesn't want it. It just doesn't really want it. So what can I do? I can stop watching something that is so dear for me. I can't just stop watching out of sudden just because I can't get it. I'll try to get it anyway, and then I'll try to minimize the damage by not buying bootlegs, by buying merchandise, like original merchandise, and like something that Joe's like to do, which is donate for the animations dorm, the animators dorm,
right?
Those kind of stuff. Do those kind of stuff. I know it doesn't pay what I'm doing with illegal downloads or illegal streaming, but still, it's something that I know I can do instead of going out of my way just to get things liquid. It's unfortunate. I wish I would have access. I wish everyone would have access to everything. I wish there was more anime on TV, but unfortunately that's how life is, and sometimes life doesn't give you what you want.
It's a harsh reality, isn't it?
Can I just talk about something real quick?
Go for it.
That
Sure.
goes in terms of streaming. This isn't confirmed, but or from what I understand at least. But I think it's going to be very interesting. For those that know, Kyoto Animation is doing this series called Violet Evergarden. What I find really interesting there, especially when it might come to like availability and licensing and streaming, Kyoto Animation also seems to be wanting to have the streaming license themselves, which I think is something that is like, it's interesting to me, seeing like production studios or like animation studios wanting to take up the streaming license themselves, which then to me would mean they're planning on streaming it themselves, probably on their own sites. So that's one thing. So that's just something I find really interesting, like going forward, if we're going to see like the bigger studios in Japan doing something like this, and what that will then mean for availability. Will this be Japan only? Are they planning to expand? Or yeah, that's
well,
that's kinda interesting.
in my opinion, there's a pretty hard line on how many subscription services I'm willing to do. and I'm already basically at the threshold of my limit. I can't subscribe to every single studio. I'm just not gonna do it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, if they wanna do it themselves, but they're willing to sell the license off outside of Japan, because I have no idea what Japan does for licensing, for streaming, how they get their products out. I know everything is exorbitantly expensive. Because I was trying to get the Macross Delta Blu-rays, but it's only a couple episodes for $70, and I can't do that. I make decent money, but I'm not made out of money. I'm not throwing my money away for 3 episodes. Yeah, the release is beautiful, but there's a limit. There's a hard limit.
That's a lot of money for 40 minutes.
Exactly. And
that's like every minute that goes by, you're just chucking money at your TV constantly. You're like, damn it, I paid for this. Click, click, click. That's the coins.
Just the Super Mario sound effect going off the whole time.
Ding, 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 doo, doo, doo.
Every time you get to the ED, it just plays the flag music.
You're like, I did it. Yeah, I can see it. I did it. I did it. Oh, next level. Next episode. So it's good that you actually brought up something like Kyoto, someone like Kyoto Animation possibly stream it themselves, because then this could also turn into what I wanted to bring up as the last kind of what's led to more pirating is Anime Strike on Amazon. You can get access to this in other countries. However, for those who don't know, Anime Strike is an anime service by Amazon in which you have to have Amazon Prime to get a reasonable price to then pay for the extra service of Anime Strike. If you want just Anime Strike, you're actually spending more money per year than having Amazon Prime plus the strike. Does everyone follow me so far?
Yes.
How much it cost for you?
It's $100 for Amazon Prime, and then $5 a month for Strike.
Yeah. So it's 160 USD per year for single service.
Ooh.
And for not a large catalog either. Now, of course, they are growing, but here's the issue for Canada. Let's just put that as an example. If we want Amazon Strike, we have to pay in Canadian dollars, which is then, but it's converted to USD. So we're not paying $5 a month. We're actually paying closer to like $8. So it's even more. And if we want to even go the cheaper route to get Amazon Prime, we'd have to get an Amazon Prime US account that doesn't then have free shipping to Canada. Because most sites won't do that then. You have to go through Amazon Canada. So we'd be essentially paying for a service that we can't use. Who in their right mind would do that? So I mean, I was at SoccerCon a few months ago, and Amazon Strike had a big thing there, and I was wearing a Canada shirt, just with a pouty face in front of it. Took a picture. So it's like, I would love to have the service, but you're making it as difficult as possible for me to even want it. So of course I'm gonna say, screw you. I'm gonna torrent the shows or pirate them in some way, just as spite.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this entire culture, at least in North America, was predicated. It started through piracy. I mean, it was done by one person buying it legally, maybe buying it legally, or recording it on TV with a VHS recorder, and then copying that tape over and over and over and over and over again, and shipping them out. I remember getting my money together to get Serial Experiments Lane, a VHS, and you just send out $80. Off it goes to some guy. Whether or not you get the tape, who fucking knows?
It's a risk you're willing to take.
And that was the only way to see shows. So, I mean, we finally got away from that. We got a better possibility with torrents or streaming sites or legally. But then Amazon comes in and says, hey, do you remember when you used to spend way too much on anime? You know those shows you want to watch this season? We're going to put them behind not one paywall, but two. I would be totally fine with this service if it were, A, you had Amazon Prime and you got the service, or you wanted to spend the $5 subscription fee every month. If it was one or the other, I wouldn't complain. But because it's both, I can't let it go.
And like you said, where do you draw the line on how many of these services are you willing to pay for? Yeah. Especially when a service like Crunchyroll has X amount percentage per season, if you're keeping up with current seasons,
and a huge back catalog,
and a very, very much growing back catalog, especially
because now they have that with Funimation. And in the States, we have a joint service called VRV or Verve or whatever they want to call it, and it's a Crunchyroll and Funimation subscription together for $10 instead of, I think it's like $7 a piece. So if you like,
yeah, it's not a bad gig, that's for sure. I might be hopping on that when my Funimation subscription goes away, along with my Crunchyroll, because they were advertising it quite a bit here in Canada.
I think you can cancel it directly into there. You don't have a contract with them, I believe. Oh well, whatever. Keep going.
Anyways, I wanted to then bring up this last announcement. There's only been one so far, so the second one is the announcement of the manga Pluto.
This isn't confirmed, but the rumor going around was 8 hour-long episodes, 8 one-hour episodes, OVA style, being released for Pluto.
And for those who don't know, what Pluto is it's another take. It's the mangaka who wrote Monster. In my opinion, one of the greatest animes out there.
Oh, you mean the guy who wrote a silent voice?
Oh, yeah. Well, he did that too, of course.
Yeah, of course.
He wrote this mature take on a specific volume of Astro Boy. It was Astro Boy Volume 3, Strongest Robot in the World, or something along those lines. And it's a detective story focused around a German android.
It is Urasawa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And people have been clamoring about it for quite some time. The big rumor, it's not totally confirmed yet, but Pluto is getting an anime, and like you said, each volume is going to get its own hour-long piece. And I couldn't ask for anything more, honestly, if this is true.
Yeah,
no, it doesn't. It definitely sounds cool.
It's exactly what I would want out of it. There's nothing else, and Urasawa has been definitely honing his storytelling through Monster, 20th Century Boys, Master Keaton.
He does have an issue with endings being lackluster, but that doesn't make the story the journey any less prevalent and well written.
Yeah, that's a problem I noticed.
That's my opinion over it.
That is a kind of nitpick problem I've noticed.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this was a great story. Now it's over. Okay, I guess.
Well, that's the ending. You just get this kind of like sinking feeling of, and it's over. But this problem.
Now, my worry is because we are getting an OVA. Is it going to be kind of a Gundam Thunderbolt situation here?
How do you mean?
So possibly it won't be on Crunchyroll. It won't be on any service. It'll just straight to video. Hopefully they'll have something like a YouTube access for a limited time where you can watch it.
Being an OVA, it's probably not going to be available to stream, sadly.
Well, that's my worry. Like, how are we going to be able to see this? Because, we're now making fun of silent voice being written by the same person. He writes everything now.
Yeah.
Silent Voice, a very good movie, in, not in theaters. So
Yeah.
how are we supposed to watch it?
That's the thing, right? What I'm hoping is that somebody is going to look at this and be like, because I know Crunchyroll, for example, they're trying to get a hold of certain OVAs as well that they think will do well. They've tried. I think they've got one or maybe two, but it's apparently very hard since it's supposed to be, video animation. It's supposed to go straight to video. It's supposed to be on streaming services. So it's hard to get a hold of. But my hope is that, considering the fact that, Pluto, people are going to look at this and be like, we have to at least try. We can't just let this go by and not even try to get a hold of this.
My biggest fear is that it's only going to be a video release in Japan, and the only way any of us are going to have access to it is a just one fan out there just gets it and then fan dubs it, or fan subs it.
I don't want to watch a fan dub. I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch professional
Fan
dubs.
dub is bad. Just put it
I don't know.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of German fan dubs, and they're pretty funny.
Yeah,
I watched a
no,
couple
like
Norwegian
the only
fan dubs, and I
dub-
didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, the only fan dub I think I ever watched was Psychon of fan dub. It wasn't good. It was just bad. But no, my opinion is closer to Tori's. I think this has a lot of pedigree behind, so I think someone might get it. It's an hour episode. Like the rumors say, it's an hour of episode. Like 8 movies. I don't see people letting it slip. Like, at least
be
if I
honest
was
with you.
a streaming service, I would get it. It's the same guy that did Monster. Come on.
I think if it's not going to be if nobody's going to get it, it's going to be because Japan is saying no.
I will watch this, and I do not care how it has to happen. Just gonna be totally honest with you. So
No, I mean I am as well.
Yeah,
Some-
you're all being
if
honest
I'm
here.
interested in something, I do not care.
if it's
If
legally
they-
available
they-
to me, fantastic. If it's not, I'm gonna find it.
Well, I mean, there was the recent movie Blame that came out. Blamu.
Yeah,
Blame.
blam.
If it wasn't on Netflix, you can bet that we were gonna watch that in any way possible.
Nihei is one of my favorite mangaka, so yeah, I would give it a go. I'd find it. I mean, I've watched Raws just so I could see something, so it's not exactly gonna stop me. And I've read Raws for or I've watched Raws for like Fist of the North Star. I think it was Fist of the Blue Sky when it released, and I just had the manga next to me, just reading the manga as I'm watching the movie, so I know what's going on.
That's what
nice.
we call dedication, peoples.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a nice technique to watch Raws. I just watch
the only
them and no, I try to guess what they are talking and run with it. That's basically what I do when I watch Raws.
Yeah. I'm trying to patch together my very limited Japanese. Be like, I do know that word.
You know that
I
that
do know
might
that
actually
word.
be a good drinking game. You and your buddies are watching an anime without subtitles in Japanese, and you're just trying to guess what's going on, what's happening, and then you're just making up your own rules as you go. That actually does sound like a fun time.
Every
It is a
time
fun
you
time.
say something, every time you correctly guess what they say, everyone drinks.
Yeah. So, we're approaching the hour mark. I believe it's time to get into our main topic. And that's the review talk spitball thing of Gunbuster.
Yeah, we show him at the top. Huh?
Yeah, aim
That
for
was
the
a good
top,
one, right?
Gunbuster.
Yeah.
Top Gunbuster. Now it was an OVA that came out in 1988 by Studio Gainax.
Who
Yeah,
are,
my
who are
nose never
they?
brought them.
Who are they?
Never heard of.
It wasn't.
I don't think
it
they're
wasn't.
around anymore.
It wasn't exactly Hideaki Anno's directorial debut, but it was his first full series. He's done a handful of shorts before then.
Usano.
Who is this Hideki Ono you speak of?
He's a guy that goes to the top of buildings, puts his foot off, and sees if he just falls off or not.
Okay.
Like a nice guy. Yeah.
So sounds
man.
like someone I should trust.
Yeah, I think so. It
I
would
trust
behoove
him.
you.
I trust him with my life.
I might.
Sure.
Fucking Neva fan.
Alright, so Hickey watched this recently for the first time.
Yes.
Corey, you rewatched it, right?
No. I haven't watched it at all. I watched it once. A while
You watched
ago.
it once?
A while ago, yeah.
When was the last time you saw it?
The first time I saw it.
Which
Let's
was.
see. Are you on the date? It was February 28th, 2017. There you go.
Oh, okay, not too long ago. Take that.
Someone's on their mouth
I
page.
rewatched it last night. I even took notes
And I'm
with
gonna
a
spitball
pad-
bullshit this whole time.
with a pad and paper, so I am ready to break this down and spitball it hard.
Good.
Sure.
Good.
So everyone likes the intro music for the show?
Oh yeah,
It's very
great.
80s.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
It's the eye of the tiger. It's the wait. Is that not the?
No, it's not.
You know, now that you mention it, that really gets the same sort of emotion, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
'Cause that's what kind of it is. So, the series, before we even get into like a setting or anything, I'd like to just mention how it starts. We get a little girl talking about her dad. And it goes, "Here is my dad. He's awesome. He's a space pilot. One day, aliens. He's missing, probably dead." Cuts to Noriko then, that's our main character. And she goes, "I can't believe it. I want to be a space pilot too."
Everything you just said, I heard in a little girl voice. Thanks for that.
No problem. You know, it's not, quote for quote, but it is how it starts. It's just this picture of a girl and her dad and talking, and it really... The series is only 6 episodes, so it really has to make everything and every moment count. And I think this was a good... It sets up motivation and a good character background immediately.
It gives you what you need to
Yeah.
know, just to immediately get into it. Like you immediately know where you stand. That's like, okay, this is
Yeah.
basically the background. Now we're taking it from there. Where is this gonna go now?
And where does it go indeed? We get our nice 80s intro music, and then it cuts to a school.
Robot
Oh
push-ups.
yes,
But it's not just any
Like-
school.
I think this first part with young Noriko talking is a really good character building. It's quick and it gives you what you want to know. Problem is the rest of the first episode. The second to 6 it's fine. The problem is kind of the first episode because it looks like a parody. To say the least. You have this school. It's a school setting, and they are training, to fight with robots. Okay, it's fine. Every single mecha show in the 70s did that, I guess. But then you have this guy coming in and saying, like, the coach, Ota commander, and say, "I'm gonna choose 2 people to go to space and become the most awesome mecha pilots ever." Why?
why not?
So,
Why would you go to
Yeah,
an
no.
all-girls high school instead of the military?
Yeah, there are all
so
those
they
skilled. There are all those skilled pilots out there in the space, and he's like, "No, I want high school girls because they are the best."
well, okay.
To be fair,
Back-
do you
let's-
not?
Back up there for a second.
Okay.
They do specifically mention in episode 1 that because of that attack of Noriko's dad, because her dad was the commander of that ship that got attacked by aliens. This was the government and the world acting upon that attack. And what they did was they have these mech training schools now, specifically for guys and girls to become pilots to fight the aliens. And they briefly mentioned that there are still other schools out there, but these schools specifically are people who want to become pilots.
Yes.
So and then we learn later that there is a male robot mech training school. So imagine them also doing robot push-ups, pulling. You laughed at this a lot, Hickey, when you first saw it. It
Yeah.
was robots pulling giant tires.
Yeah, like I know I know. Okay, I'm fine with push-ups, sit-ups, you know, and the mecha running because they need to train, and I think they're training how to control the robot. But what difference does it make to attach tires to the fucking robot? Doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, if you want to put the robot on stress, just launch it on space, put it underwater. I don't know, put on a vacuum space. But why pushing tires on the sunset?
It's like 80s, I guess.
Yeah,
Well,
I can't.
the thing that
imagine it
bothered
being
me
any
about
more
that
80s
was
than
they had auto balancers enabled that entire time when they were pulling tires and doing push-ups. So they were being balanced actively from the systems. And when they turn it off, everyone starts falling over. Like, the only way I could justify those tire pushing exercises and all that was so you could maintain balance in a robot the whole time. But if the robot does it for you, then it's a waste of your time.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring up a lot of the scientific flaws in that. Now, after I actually have the DVD with personally of the show, and after each episode, there's actually a science lesson, and they do bring up why the auto balancers are a thing and why they don't work and why everyone kept falling over. They go through a little space lesson, but they briefly mention why the auto balancers came into play. The auto balancers were there to keep, as you said, balance of the robot, but the training was to the idea behind it was to train and extend your body to be a part of the machine. Now, the idea's there, but when they actually show everything, like when they're in the mechs, it's really just two levers.
Yeah, a couple of buttons as well, and switch. That's it.
Yes.
And we do see Anno probably get this same idea across, because there's two shows I'd like to compare this to, and that's and Joe, you'll definitely have more comparisons over this show than another. Is I'd like to compare it to Aim for the Ace, which is the tennis one from the 70s, and Evangelion. We definitely see Anno's ideas coming to fruition in Evangelion. So where these ideas began, we do see it happen later.
I mean,
would you like to take it away on?
Noriko is basically just the prototype for Shinji. You know, the same, well, not exactly the same, but a similar form of like daddy issues. You can tell she has problems with commitment. You could tell that she doesn't want to do this, but she really does somewhere inside of her. She has a lot of the same like emotional handicaps. And you do
with tits, yes.
Yeah, that is how I explained her to you. And I mean, after she was to be the meme lord I am, after she was told to get in the fucking robot, she did stay in the robot, and she was very confident. We got those sweet-ass vending machines from Evangelion. Or, should I say, Evangelion got their sweet-ass vending machines from Gunbuster. But the thing I would compare Aim for the Top, Gunbuster, is more towards the mecha side of the tropes. You can tell that they took basically a super robot series from the 70s like Mazinger Z, and they kind of just moved it forward. They moved it forward, but they didn't give you a protagonist who was full of fire. It's he's no hero. She's no hero from Gundam Wing, but the job does get done.
Damn right. I'm glad you bring that series up. It's it can't compare to Gundam Wing.
No, stop that. Don't lie to our 47 listeners.
Yeah, that's rude.
Half of the NRB.
Especially our 0.05% from Norway.
Oh yeah, that one guy though.
One guy.
I wonder who that is.
Yeah.
It's just Tori's mother.
I'm
I'm so proud of my boy.
Personally,
I'd like to bring up a comparison. Or okay, go on.
Personally, I would compare Gunbuster to Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. I think it paved the way to Gurren Lagann. A lot of the scenes, a lot of the characters, a lot of the dialogues, it reminded me of Tengen Toppa, especially those giant robots with arm crossed.
Oh, the Gynax pose.
Yeah,
Gynax
the
pose.
Gynax pose
This is
all the way in.
It's funny you bring that up. This is also the series that brought the Gynax bounce.
Oh, the booby
See
bounce.
that
Oh yeah,
immediately in
80s
episode
jiggle
1.
physics. Ah, so great.
Well, yeah, because they're not crazy. It's not like you're watching the Havoc engine go to town.
No, you're absolutely right. This was a blueprint for a lot of series and characters going forward, and Gurren Lagann is definitely the best example of taking a lot from this show. Now, I'd like to actually go backwards on it, and that's Aim for the Ace, the tennis one. That a lot of characters, at least motivation behind Noriko herself, was based off of what happened and the character from Aim for the Ace, the main female. And I just wrote down some notes here that I noticed. It was Noriko's also a no-talent female protagonist who idolizes her senior who has immense talent. And that's exactly the same. It's the same motivation, it's the same idolization towards you are terrible at your current X thing, but this person above you, you want to be just like her to attain your goal. Noriko is bullied by her classmates due to her situation of the coach kind of taking precedence over her. Just one example that was exactly the same was tack in the seat. In Aim for the Ace, there's a moment where a lot of the tennis classmates get jealous and puts a tack in her seat. She sits down. Okay, I'm being bullied. Well, Noriko goes through the same thing, exactly the same tack in her mech suit. And I mentioned it before, randomly chosen by the hard-ass coach. That somehow, and it makes no sense to me, even comparative, how does the coach see the potential? I don't know. He just does.
Yeah. Like, I like to think the coach had a brain fart and just ran with it. Like, oh shit, I need to make it better. And
I was under the assumption that the...
You have a hidden potential. I know you have. Let's train. So
I was under the impression that her potential was in her last name.
Yeah, that's what I feel as well. Like, I feel like he kind of takes a chance on her because of her father. That he's like, okay, I think maybe he can live up to the name.
Absolutely. Because what they didn't do in Aim for the Ace was kind of have this justification of this just random thing that seemingly happens. They do have, it cuts to the coach essentially being yelled at by the senior with talent, Amano.
Who is totally not Lin Minmay.
Who's totally not Lin Minmay from the Macross series, but totally is.
Never.
She's yelling at the coach going, why did you pick her? She's only been in mech for a month. She has no talent. What the hell do you see? And then the coach just says, well, her father saved my life. I'm a survivor from that ship.
And I don't have to answer to you.
Got attacked by and I don't have to answer.
Yeah, basically.
You're just a kid. I was like, oh, okay. I guess I can go with that. That's a legit. That's reason enough for me, is what I'm saying. As bad as it is, it does make sense because the world does work that way. Let's face it.
It's not
what you know. It's who you know.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. We're both on the same page there.
It always will be too.
So that's basically the first episode. Is Noriko gets chosen randomly and she starts training and she goes through some exercises and it turns out, of course, she has some talent for this thing. Somehow.
I mean, I don't think she has talent. I just think the coach Brainwatch worked on her and she trained her ass off. So yeah. I wouldn't call it talent. I would call it effort. He betted on her, and good for him. She actually have this fire inside of her to get better. She admires this senpai, the One-san, because this show has the fetish of saying One-san at every 2 seconds. One-sama, and she looks up to One-sama, and she just don't want to be left behind. So.
Yeah, she doesn't want to let her down.
The coach is always there saying, if you don't want to be left behind, you need to train. That's not talent. That scene where Amano is climbing the stairs with with the iron sandals.
Oh yeah, she has like books on the top of her mech, working on the balancers.
Yeah, and the coach goes, "That's not talent, that's effort, and that's what you need. You need effort." And so don't say she's talent. She just have this this motivation of keep pushing forward. This is something that always come back at the series. Whenever something's happened, the only thing she can do is push forward, push forward, push forward. But we're gonna talk about that soon enough.
Yeah. So the series goes on, and we go out into space in the training, and then that's where we meet a third character, Jung Freud, who also has immense talent, and they're now joined by the male students who have been picked on the program, and you get this, they're still children, essentially. They're still young adults at the very most, and they're doing essentially what kids would do at like a campsite. They're on a retreat, like, oh, let's tell ghost stories. Let's dare kids to go take their headband and wrap it somewhere, even though really you guys are here to fight a war. So they're really torn between. They don't realize how important what they're doing is. Anybody?
Well,
kind of, but I mean,
say-
how the adage goes, all work and no play. Well, these are still fucking children, man. They have to do.
Yeah.
They can't be all training all the time. Like, I mean, they
Right.
should be, because this is a super important task. The human race not dying is pretty strong. The Earth,
It's a strong motivation.
the Earth
reason,
being
yeah.
not exploded is a pretty strong reason.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like when you're working out. If you don't have recovery time, you're working out for no fucking reason.
Yep.
With no recovery, there's no point in all the training in the world, because you're going to be exhausted when it finally comes time to act, or you're still going to be
All right.
recovering.
Oh yeah, and I really liked these kind of moments in the show. We meet Noriko clearly develops a crush on one of the other male pilots.
Yep.
Some things happen, becomes his partner. They end up working together. There's kind of a falling out between her and Amano, and this is where we finally start around this time in this transition. We finally get to see the alien, and it's a dead corpse, and it's really creepy, and that goes into how well I think the art is in the show.
For sure.
The art is super gritty, really detailed. Everything's hand drawn. It's fantastic.
That's just Gynax in their heyday, man. That's
You,
what they used to do.
I
you
think it
also
looks
have
good.
The music behind.
The music
music,
is
yeah.
killer.
I think it looks good.
Those-
I do. Like, there are worse looking shows, definitely. I still feel like there are times, though, when the show's age shows itself in the way it looks. There were times
Absolutely,
I
it's
was
gonna happen.
not
I can't.
not
yeah, I
that
can't
not
deny
that
that.
impressed.
Yeah. Well, I think
Well,
it
the
aged
scene I'm
well.
specifically talking about is that first scene with the alien, the busted up corpse.
Yeah, no, I know
The
that,
alien. It's
and
like
I
this weird spider-like thing.
yeah, and I agree with you. The way they look, like they really sold those aliens. I was wondering what what they were gonna look like when that appeared. I was like, oh, okay, so that's what it looks like. That's creepy.
Well, it all, like you said, you were wondering what they were going to look like. The series did such a good job, and I made a note of this going, the sense of enemy danger and mystery is at a high scale. It makes the danger feel real. There's one point where the enemy's going around and it's too fast to see. Noriko's freaking out because, let's face it, she's still a young child, hasn't seen real combat before. And there's a death, but we don't actually see it. All we know is someone died. And she's stricken by it. It hurts.
Yeah.
And it does a good job of portraying death in that way. So then then it's almost like we only get to see what Noriko sees and her emotions. And that's what we're supposed to care about.
Well, he's the main character. He's the focus.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good job doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like, I don't give a shit about the other characters. I care about her.
And
And that's the point.
That's one of those things which I feel like this does very, very well compared to a lot of other shows. Because, like, I mean, if you read books and stuff, you will see, like, especially, like, a lot of mystery novels and, like, detective books and stuff like that. You often usually have one character, and that's, like, they're the main focus. Those are the only ones you get to know. You know what they think, you know what they feel, but you don't know what anybody else thinks or feels or anything like that. And I feel like that's essentially something that the Gunbuster does as well. Like, Noriko is our eyes and ears and everything into the show. We get to experience everything she experienced. We know what she thinks. We know what she feels. However, we can only really... The only thing we know about everybody else is what they say or how they act or what they react to. We don't know what they think. We don't know what they feel. And that's something I feel Gunbuster does a lot better than a lot of other shows, especially a lot of newer shows, where I have the opposite issue, where I feel like you know what everybody thinks and feels. We basically live inside of every character's head.
Well, yeah, instead of being a character, we're basically a god in newer series. We know everything about everyone. In this show, we know what our main character thinks, but we can only infer what everyone else thinks.
Yeah.
Is that an Anno thing? Because I noticed that in a lot of his shows.
Anno's thing is depression. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But I do think...
It's all, yeah.
I do think, yes. I do think you're right. I do think it is sort of his thing, on the sense that, like, he doesn't want you to necessarily get, like, the inside of how everybody thinks or feels. He kind of wants to try to portray them, like, so that you can see it in their actions, how they feel.
And it makes you more attached to your main character.
Yeah.
Because if you know everyone, you can pick another character and be like, I like that character more than the one we're following. Why am I not following that one?
I like Ray more than anyone else.
Oh my god, I can definitely bring up a plethora of shows where I go, is this really the main character? Why do I care? You know
well,
what?
I mean,
I don't
you
care.
wanna make it even worse. Think about Index. You follow Toma around, and then when they decide, we're gonna redo this and make it better, let's follow the love interest, and it's a better series because of it.
Yep. Well, it's because she's a more interesting character. Like, in a lot of cases, you basically get the blank slate main character, the self-insert. You can basically relate. You should be able to put yourself in his shoe because he's no one. So you can just replace him with yourself in your own mind and go about it like, you know, the show would. But that's incredibly uninteresting after a while. Like, okay, sure, it can be interesting once in a while. When you've seen hundreds upon hundreds of shows that has this main character, you're basically like, I don't care. Like, get the main character out of the show. I care about the other characters. Some of the other characters, I like that person. The main character might as well not be here because he doesn't think, he doesn't act, he does nothing. He's just there.
That's why I praise Monogatari so highly, because Araragi, your main character, he's not you. His entire character is he's not you. He has his own thoughts, his own emotions, his own, and it just gives you a better basis in the world. You can feel the character's emotions better because it's not just, well, how would you feel in this situation? Well, for me, usually I don't react to things as hard as the Japanese do or whoever the story's written for. I just don't. It's like, oh no, this girl said no to me. Well, I'm going to go on about my life. Oh, nope, I guess my self-insert's crying. Oh, well,
right.
I'm fucking not that dude. There goes my emotion. Meanwhile,
so
I can be more empathetic to a character that's, crying because that's what they would do and that's what makes sense for them to do.
Okay, so then on that topic, then that moment where Jung Freud is jealous and pissed off at Noriko for getting essentially special treatment from the coach, and we're back to this in space. This is right after the death sequence, because you don't see a lot of death at the beginning of the show. You only get the one time.
No, you don't.
And
like, if I may speak, I think can we say the name of the character that died? You guys are just
yeah, why
dancing
not? Go for
it. Basically, when Smith dies, it changes the tone of the series. First of all,
Smithu.
It's Mr. It's Mr.
Yeah.
It changes the tone of the series. First of all, that battle sequence is just amazing because you don't see anything, and you shouldn't be able to see anything. Those creatures are like moving at the speed of light, or almost the speed of light, and you're there alone with Noriko, and Noriko doesn't even fight around. She can't do anything. She just can just listen to Smith, and suddenly there's silence, and there's this space just
just
right,
the space.
and then as she's
alone.
searching for him, there's just busted up debris everywhere, and that's where we finally get some of that PTSD. And then when Jung Freud challenges her to a fight out in space, to try to earn her position, Noriko starts freaking out. She's like, I can't even go into space.
Yeah,
she starts to
She's
fear
afraid
her
of
own
going
death.
into space.
I thought that was done really well.
Yeah, that was because it's not the first trauma of her. You have the sequence with the spaceship, her father's spaceship traveling, and they go investigate it, and she's like, "Oh, there's still oxygen inside of the ship. My father might be alive." She goes, she opens the door, and there's like half of the spaceship. She starts freaking out, and she finally recovers from that because she found Smith and start developing feelings for him. Then he dies. She just can't do it anymore, and then again, the only thing she can do is push forward.
Yeah, it's a real sink or swim situation. It really gets you to root for the main character. But it's there and then in episode 4 where she has that sink or swim choice, and that's where shit starts going down. To me personally, every episode of Gunbuster got better from episode 1 to 6.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about how that pitch must have went for this show. Okay, so we're gonna make a 6-episode OVA, right? And it's gonna be about a girl, okay? And she's gonna pilot a mech, but she's gonna have severe emotional problems, okay? All right, we're gonna go into space and we're gonna fight some monsters, but we're not gonna do that until episode 5.
No, they first fight in 4. That's when we finally get to see the unfinished Gunbuster mech.
Yeah. We're just gonna world build for the front half of this series.
Yeah.
But in that sense, as we were mentioning earlier, that sense of danger and mystery remains until it's absolutely necessary. And holy crap, when we find out that the aliens aren't actually these like wild spider creatures, they're insect-like creatures. They're all kinds of different things. There's like a praying mantis, giant robot ship creature. You don't even know what they are, but god damn do they look good, and they look freaky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, you could say that Macross took a ton from the show for the later iterations of Macross.
I mean, this series took inspiration from Top Gun.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So we got episode 4 and 5. They're fighting the insectoids, and everyone's dying. Everyone's panicking because now they go, our only hope is now this giant robot to fight them. That's all we got. And this is when, because they were kind of world building with a lot of science aspects, and I think the show does science and physics. Bear in mind, this was based on theories in the late 80s, so you kind of, things have changed now, obviously.
Yeah, they're incorrect, but they are done well.
They're incorrect now, but at the time they were all theories, and they made sense. And as Joe said, they're done extremely well. What is everyone's take on science? Because I'll mention my favorite after everyone gets their word in.
I mean, I already know what my favorite is, and that is, the whole thing where it's like, the thing that I'm shocked that more shows didn't do, and that was, whenever they did travel faster than the speed of light, it was basically,
time dilation?
Yeah, the time dilation thing. That was like the biggest thing, because I was not prepared for that. Joe, you told me, you were like, as soon as they show you a calendar, look at that calendar. And they didn't show me a calendar, but I was like, what are you talking about? But then they started doing that. I started noticing what he was talking about. And it was like the clocks, everything. And I'm like, they are, time flows differently when they're going faster than the speed of light.
In episode 1, they show you the
has.
Original date.
Yeah.
And then until episode 4, they basically don't show you anything. And then you start seeing calendar after time after... And you start getting... It's never, like, outright told to you. I mean, it's kind of told to you after they find the Luxion, which is her father's ship. And someone comes up to her and says, look, you need to, like, cheer up. And I believe it was... One-san?
It was Jung.
Yeah,
Alano.
Yeah, she says... look, it might have been 6 months to you, but we were there less than an hour ago. And that's the point where it ticks in your head, oh, they're actually keeping time in this series. And it's gonna be a huge problem.
It ends up playing a huge role. Yeah, you know what? That I can iterate a little bit more on that. 1 second in FTL, fast and light, equals 2 weeks of Earth time. And they consistently use that theory that the closer you are to the speed of light, the slower time will move for you, but faster outside of that timeline. It's based on the theory that if you're in an airplane, you're moving faster than someone walking on the ground. Therefore, you are X amount of time closer to the future or in the past when you land than before. Does it make sense in today's physics? No, not really anymore, because that's kind of proven. But in the 80s, that was a highly advanced theory.
It's not
really cool.
It's not exactly discredited. It's just it kind of gets into like quantum mechanics now.
Well,
it's much more.
Quantum physics has gotten much more in depth in the last 30 years.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, now you got like string theory and all these other theories going on.
If they did another Gunbuster, I would love for them to touch on string theory. That would be amazing.
If only they did another Gunbuster.
I like D-Buster, and I don't care if you don't.
The Buster can not be talked about right now.
No is great. You shut up.
Oh man.
Topless.
So what did everybody? Yeah. What? Okay. Yeah. There are two other aspects I want to bring up. What did everyone think of the constant nudity we were gifted with?
I was impressed.
I enjoyed it.
I'm a fan.
You were impressed by the ambitions in the girls.
Yeah. We said before. I was impressed by the boob jiggle, the chest movement. I mean, someone looked at Bob's jiggle for hours to draw that shit. I'm sure.
Did you not?
Because it's believable. You know, it makes the characters seem more alive. Not only gives you the good stuff. Something I was kind of impressed as well is that they showed us the middle, like the erogenal parts sometimes. That first scene with Jung in the bath. She just
the bath scene. Everyone's just straight up. What is it? What movie is that? Where I think it's Sharon Stone. She crosses her legs in front of everybody.
I was like, well, I wasn't expecting
Basic Instinct.
That. Oh,
Basic Instinct. Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Yeah, just full on vag.
Yeah.
Guys, let's stay classy, please.
No.
I was impressed. I think it was well made and well used.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, nudity is not really a problem. I'm a military guy, and you just get so used to it, you just stop caring. You don't really give a shit. So to see someone who's in a military capacity doing what people in the military would probably do. I mean, granted, it was immediately undercut by them in the mechs going past the window.
Yeah, I was about to say that. That's the only problem I had with that when they did that. When they were like, they're in the bath.
But of course they're naked.
It's an entire, like, fucking glass window everywhere. Why? Who designed this?
Because they're in space.
Like,
who cares?
Yeah, that's something that
because nobody's going to fly around. Never.
That's something that
I actually forgot this scene existed until I rewatched the show.
Yeah, I was just laughing. I was laughing. Like I mentioned with episode 1, when we are talking about episode 1, there's some parody on this, at least the first episode and some parts of the second episode. Then the third and third to 6, it's more straight up PTSD and depression. But that scene with the fucking robots passing by, ho 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 ho, I started laughing. I just couldn't stop.
It's fantastic. Now for a more serious note. And that's episode 5. And that's where... Oops.
You wanna
cut that out? Well, that's good, because that was the Undertaker's music. Because episode 5 is episode 5 is the Gong of Death, essentially, because it's a build to the final battle. And Noriko gets to go back to Earth
to see her friend
where
who has aged
she sees her
substantially.
friend. Time has passed. What was it? 30 years or something? Or
No,
20?
I think it's
At least
10
in-
years.
At least
Because-
enough for that
no,
girl to
10
have a
years?
child and be married and be old.
Yeah.
She was 27. I think they were like 16 when Noriko was 16 when it started. Then she had her first birthday while searching for her fathership. So 17, 10 years.
Damn it, JD,
Okay, so
you're
10
old.
I'm getting. Well, I mean, come on. That's why we're all here. We're working together here.
JD
Yeah.
needs
So
a
time's
hand.
passed. I need. Yeah. All right.
Time has passed.
Time's passed. Noriko slowly starts realizing how much possibly time she has missed out on just for her goal. Then we even get Amano going back to Earth. Time's passed. She decides. Even Amano has a revelation of, man, I need to get back there. So she's aged. This all builds to the final battle where it comes down to basically us or them. Is the human race going to survive?
Yeah.
Amano and Noriko need to settle their differences and pilot the Gunbuster, and this leads into episode 6, where it's all in black and white.
Yeah.
I
Just something about the final battle. They did an excellent job to show you how dire the situation was, because you have this guy saying the enemies are approaching and they are showing you the space, and he just says the ratio of enemy to space is like 70% is enemy and 30% is space. So what you're looking at are actually just enemies. You don't see them.
Yeah,
But
those aren't
they're-
stars.
Yeah, they're
Those are
just
ships.
enemies. And I was like, oh fuck, that's huge. And they talk about billions and billions of enemies. I think for the 80s, billions were a huge number to have in a series. I was like, oh shit, that's a final battle I want. And then
No, I mean, I absolutely adore this 6th episode because everything's come together. All, like Joe said, first half was world building. Then the next 2 episodes were understanding the situation, how dire it is, and it all culminates so well. I do want to ask what everyone thought about it being in black and white.
I love it.
I did like it. I was a bit weirded out when it first happened because, like, I mean, I just switched on the episode and I noticed everything is in black and white, and I'm like, what is happening? What is going on? It felt a bit off right away, but it's like I quickly grew used to it, and I kind of just started like, well, like I said, I got used to it, and essentially just this is a part of the episode, and as everything kind of kicks up, and you're approaching like the final the countdowns and everything, and they're prepared to play their last card and everything, and I'm just sitting there, I'm so engrossed in everything that's going on. I don't even think about the fact that it's all in black and white anymore. Like that, it doesn't even cross my mind. I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh, how's this gonna play out?
Well, the thing I liked about it was because that was when they had the black hole bomb, right?
Yeah.
Final
Yes.
episode. Yeah. Well,
Gunbuster number 3.
in the 80s, they didn't exactly have the greatest understanding of how these things should work. But it's essentially a well whose gravity is so tight that light can't even escape. If that's the case, then it's a pretty fair assessment that color wouldn't be able to bridge it through. And because they were trying to maintain like some semblance of a decent scientific background in this entire series, it would make sense that they would at least try to portray that black hole as something dire, something that's really actually affecting the entire world you're seeing. So there's no color. I mean, technically it should just be black, but that would be horrible. So I think black and white was a good artistic choice.
black, white, and the mixture of grays and the subtle tones everywhere.
Just hues in black and white.
It didn't, as you like. Could it be something as simple as an explanation of, oh, it's just for artistic purposes? I couldn't really get a confirmation online in the research on why this was done that way, but I'd like to think the same as you, Joe, where they were so into staying scientifically true as much as possible that light can't escape. So why wouldn't they go this route? Hickey, what do you got about it?
I think it was an excellent episode. First because we follow Amano. Amano? Yeah, Amano after Amano after the last battle, the what are they called? Solar system defense battle, something like that. And not only that, because you also can see some characters from the past. You can see Kashiwara again. If you don't remember her, she's the rival from the first episode, and she's old and wise. You can see the child Takami. I think it's the child of Kimiko, which is the Noriko's friend. You can also see what happened to the coach, and then you have this realization that we need to basically blow up our galaxy to get rid of those things. So we go to space, and going to space we find Noriko again. We find Jung and Noriko, and I don't know how many years have passed. For Noriko is like a year and a half, something like that, since the
it wasn't very long for her. She's just kind of going about her daily life, while everyone else is kind of leaving her behind.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. She was left behind when she was trying to be a mecha pilot, and after she became a successful mecha pilot, life left her behind. Now she has this very old Amano talking to her, and she's so, how can I say it? She's
mature.
No,
taken aback.
Noriko is kind
she's
of
a bit shocked.
Not afraid.
When she
she's
looks
kind
at
of
Noriko,
shy
she
around
knew
her.
what to expect, but
Someone's calling me.
But seeing it personally, it took her back. Yeah, I would say that's a very good explanation for it.
She's kind of afraid of Amano. She's shy around Amano. She doesn't know how to react. And suddenly they go, oh, we need to do that, and we need to kind of blow up the fucking galaxy, survive and come back. Then you have your climax with again Gunbuster going in the giant bomb, and Young saying, no, my best friend kind of died, which is a surprise. With Linda, the girl that dies in episode 5. She kind of came out of nowhere, and she was actually important to Jung, and Jung is like, I can't live in a place without you two, because you are the most important thing for me. And they're like, it's cool, we're gonna survive, we're gonna see each other again. Never happened, because
exactly, because something technologically went wrong with the activation of the black hole bomb, so they had to be in the gravity well. Essentially, they wouldn't be able to escape enough. So they tell them in this just massive emotional climax that basically they're gonna not be able to, or how much time in Earth time passed when they would be able to get out of the black hole. Like, it'll only be like 2 minutes for them.
12,000 years.
12,000 years had passed. That's nuts.
And that is where D-Buster picks up.
Yep.
And you get Amano and Noriko kind of looking at each other, and we're like, well, I guess the world will have changed by the time we get back. They have this. It's almost like they go through the 12 steps of emotion or whatever, where it's like denial, acceptance, all those things.
Yeah.
Until finally you go, well, we're out. Is everyone cool? Because they don't know if they succeeded or not.
Yeah, they don't even know if humanity is still going.
Yeah.
They
So
arrive at
they're
Earth,
slowly.
and Earth is black. It's that there are no lights, which leads to the
Yeah.
most cheesy ending as possible.
You think it's cheesy?
Welcome home.
I think it's cheesy.
Oh no! I thought it was so. I got so emotional when I saw it because I was wondering
as
like.
well, but it doesn't mean it wasn't cheesy.
I don't think it was cheesy.
Nah, it was kind of
I
cheesy.
think-
It was a little bit cheesy.
Yeah, it was
How,
cheesy.
do,
Come
how
on.
do they know that they're on their way? Even I think they say that in Diebuster, don't they? How they picked up their signal, but
Yeah, they were waiting for that signal this whole time.
yeah.
So they scanned the sky for 12,000 years and never stopped for this one signal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
well, it's
to
just
say welcome
just
home.
just a simple like radio wave or something. That's all it would take.
For 12,000 years, yeah.
You don't think technology would be advanced enough where it's just a recipient signal just being pumped out by a computer?
No, I
don't know.
think technology would advance to the point where they wouldn't even have radio signals anymore.
Well, I'm just as an example, like just something pumping something out to receive something. It'd be easy. I think it'd be easy.
Yeah, but
But yeah, I really like.
It's a pretty big
But,
when
mess.
no, like it's not only about the scanning the signal that is cheesy. Like, can you imagine the government going on evacuating people just to use their houses to make a sign? I hear signs saying "Welcome home." That's what I thought was cheesy.
I don't know the saviors of Earth. I think deserve no less.
The saviors of Earth from ancient times. Like,
Oh.
from where
Far
we
back.
sit right now, from before Jesus Christ. By a lot.
The least they can get is a welcome home banner.
Welcome, banner.
It's a pretty big assumption, though, to assume they'll even come back to Earth if they had a choice. Like, obviously they didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
They
it's a big leap of faith
they,
for sure.
They could have landed anywhere. And the universe is pretty big.
Well, the big scientific hole in that in itself is it's the Doctor Who theory, where if he goes back in time in the same exact location on Earth, it's not going to be in the same exact location in space. So it just so happened, I guess, that Earth was in the same rotation when they came back.
There you go.
So you just have to chalk that up to a happy coincidence.
It's plot convenience. Come on, this show is full of plot convenience sometimes. So let's just chunk it out.
Sometimes, yeah, you can't deny it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's why I got the grade that it did.
Oh no, they had 6 episodes to tell a 26 episode story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this could have easily been a full 26.
I don't
kind
know
of like
26,
that short,
but
though.
I think 13 would be good, mostly because of the background characters. Like I said, Linda died out of nowhere, and you suddenly realize she was always there, and she is actually kind of important to Jung. Smith dying, it would be very, very heartbroken if he was kind of developed, but no, they just decided to make those kind of flares of love, and suddenly he becomes this main driving force for Noriko, and I didn't know why.
Yeah,
I was like,
if the series was longer, we would have seen something along the lines of what Evangelion did, with you actually do get the character backgrounds that they deserve.
Yeah, but the problem is, I tend to have issues with when you see something like a short story like this, and then say, well, they could have make it longer. They could have. The only thing that always makes me scared about would make me scared about that is I have a feel like making it longer doesn't necessarily mean it would be necessarily be better or that it would be used doing the right things. So I don't know. For my money, I think that it's fine as a 6 episode. Yes, there are trade-offs. Yes, there are things that could be expanded upon, but I don't necessarily think. I don't think they are super like they are all that required to make Gunbuster good or to make Gunbuster what Gunbuster is. Gunbuster is really good, even with these quote-unquote like things that are lacking or things that could be done better. But that's like trade-off and stuff. So yeah.
Right.
Well, it's like one of my problems with Noriko as a character is the fact that she seems to have a switch to be a badass mecha pilot all of a mystical sudden. It's like she has an on-off switch to her hero mode. But I mean, in such a short amount of time, you can kind of look past that because you just assume like, oh no, there's a ton of character motivation back there. We just never got to see it. 6 episodes long.
Right.
And it's a
So,
trade-off
I'm
I was
curious
willing
to what-
to take.
I think we're coming to the end here. We're approaching the 2-hour mark. I'm curious to what everyone gave the show score-wise. My anime
I
list.
gave it a 9 on 10.
I give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I also gave it an 8 out of 10.
I also gave it an 8. So that's high praise, just for a 6-episode OVA from the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And Tori, you actually don't like mech shows.
I do not like mech shows, generally. Now, granted, this was
Unless
one of my
Anno does
first...
them.
True. Anno is the exception. You know, I do like Neon Genesis Evangelion, and I do like this one. The thing is, though, like, I feel like what probably stops this from being any better for me is the fact that, like, it took me a while. I mean, as I was watching, I was talking to Joe, so he will know this. But, like, when I was watching, the first 3 episodes were essentially where I wasn't interested in a lot of the stuff that was going on. I was mostly just being around making fun of the shows. While the last 3 episodes and the climax does make up for it. But it is one of those things where it's like, I feel like, of course, it's the 3 episodes, it's necessary. I'm not saying they're thinking these things should have been cut out. But there is one of those things for me where they show stuff or they do things that I'm not interested in. I don't like watching them, like you said, watching them train with their robots. I don't care. Like, I don't like robots. I'm not a fan of robots. So that will always impact my enjoyment when I watch something like this. Like, if I see where a lot of people be like, but it's so good though. It has these really cool robots. I'm immediately turned off because I don't like robots. I don't care if they're cool. I really don't care about that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Hickey?
Well, I'm also not a huge fan of robots, but when I started, it's not about the robots this time, it's about the characters, and especially nautical. So I can get behind the mechas. I actually like a lot of military stuff and engineering stuff. The mechas in the show, they aren't that good. The designs are kind of wacky. But aside from that, I think it's a really great show. I don't see a problem recommending it to anyone, and I definitely gonna watch again next week actually, because I'm actually really pumped to watch it again and like have get some tidbits that I lost in the process of watching it as quick as I could to participate in the podcast.
And Joe?
Alright, so I gave the series a 9, mostly because Hideaki Anno is the master of making me a mark for every story he fucking does. It seems that way, at least. I am not the hugest fan of robots, but I'm by no means not a fan. I do like mecha. I like the science. I like that our character isn't a self-insert or some kind of Mary Sue or a gigantic, just hot-blooded mecha pilot from the get-go. Granted, Gunbuster has some hot-blooded fight scenes. Something I didn't see mimicked again until I watched Gurren Lagann, and I mean, we all know how that series ends up.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it a lot. So I gave it a 9.
Excellent. Well, high praise from all of us. I can't wait to try and get more people to watch this show. I've actually got a couple of my friends here in Toronto to borrow the DVD, and they absolutely like the show as well. One of them just can't stand the mech genre, and I go, just give it a try. The worst is that you lost 2 hours.
I actually think it's a very good introductory anime, just because of its length.
You know what? That's actually a very good point to make.
If someone goes, oh, well, I don't want to watch it. Well, it's 2 hours, so sit down and stop crying. It's a movie.
But Joe, it's so scientifically inaccurate. I mean, like, compared to Diebuster, it's so scientifically inaccurate.
You guys and your mispronunciation of the show, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's our our talk over Gunbuster. High praise. I hope everyone really enjoyed everything we had spoken about prior. And if you have suggestions of any old anime you'd like us to more or less just break apart, because we tried to break this apart, but it turned out to be more positive than negative, and that's a long shot.
We need to find something that we disagree with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for our next one, we're gonna find something that we all disagree with.
Good.
And it seems like we pick a 70s show, we pick an 80s show. I think next one's going to be a 90s show. We're already in the works for episode 10 to be the Evangelion special.
Oh God, I'm gonna have my own podcast. Great.
You're counting.
in which Joe gets to talk at us.
I like that you're already like counting that we're gonna go to 10. I don't know. I'm betting on like 5 at max.
We got 6 hours of bullshit to spew, and then we're done.
So yeah, this was episode 2 of the Red Leaf Retrocast Anime. You can find us at iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and VidMe at Moosenspiel. It'll be on there. And go check out the other 2 podcasts I mentioned earlier at the top of the show. Description will be in, or the link will be in their descriptions, in our description. You know what? I'm all tongue-tied now. This is getting bad. I think it's time to call it a day, and I can't wait to seeing what we get to talk about next time. Everyone say your goodbyes.
All right, everyone. Till next time, I'm sure I'll be around.
I hope I get to be on the next one as well. Peace.
I'll try my best to be here. I'll try. I really do. Bye.